Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Sharita. Welcome. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for supporting my channel. Okay, so today's video is going to be all about reasons why you should not sister lock. And now once I read off 2, 3, 4, 5 of these off my list and you're thinking to yourself, ooh, I don't know if I can do that, then honey, this journey may not be for you. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in hearing more about, then just keep watching. Okay, so the first thing we need to discuss is definitely going to be the financial commitment to sister locks in particular. Sister locks are the most expensive form of lock. And I mean, honey, you're gonna be dishing out money the whole process, okay? Your install is going to be literally an investment. So you're talking about paying upwards of $1,000 just because at this point, most consultants are charging between $800 and $1,000 just for 4 inches of hair. Okay, so if you have longer hair and you're not wanting to cut it, you're talking about even more on top of that $1,000. So the initial install is one thing to consider, but that is not all you have to consider. Your reties will be a monthly expense that you have to factor in, okay? My reties run on average about $135, okay? And that is just going to depend on how long I went before I had my retie because they're charging you per hour. You're also going to have to take into consideration that inflation is real, okay? Reties right now, $135, what are they gonna be like 10 years from now? Maybe $200. So you're talking about a real monthly expense, you know, just like a cell phone bill. So you have to look at this as a long game, okay? Financially, it's something that you're going to have to always consider. Me personally, okay, I'm never going to be a self-retire. Yes, you can go take the course, learn how to self-retire so you don't have that expense. But for me, time is also money. I don't have a day to commit to retying my hair, nor do I have the arm strength, nor do I have the patience or the skill. So for me personally, it will always be an expense. Now, the second thing you will need to consider is the condition of your scalp and hair currently. If your hair is severely damaged, if you have real scalp issues, excessive dandruff, flaking, inflammation, you should not be getting sister locks until you have those things resolved. And I say that because a lot of times when we get these in the start, it exacerbates scalp issues because you're not able to put a lot of products on your scalp to soothe, you know, any issues. Certain medications you're not going to be able to put in your hair. So you've got to get those scalp issues taken care of by either first speaking with a trichologist or a dermatologist to see if this is something, okay, that you can eventually get under control, or if sister locks is really going to be a viable option for you. These are not for everyone. So you can't lie to yourself and say, you know, I have to like literally get in my hair with a big comb, scrape my scalp full of dandruff, and expect for this stuff not to like really get embedded in your locks. Your locks are not going to be healthy. We already have enough to combat as far as the lint, you know, the sweat, the little things that already get in these, and you're talking about lots of extra particles and dandruff and dirt getting lodged in there. If you have a seriously flaky, unhealthy scalp, these are not going to be for you. Okay, now if you are not a patient person, you really want to reconsider having sister locks. Patience is going to be key, okay? And I'm not just talking about the install. My install was 40 hours, okay? I've never had my patience tested as I did with the install. Yes, box braid, yes, micro braids, they take hours. We're used to committing a whole day, but try committing 10 to 12 hours, 4 days in a row where you're just sitting there, okay? You're sitting there and someone is working on your head from sunup to sundown. It is serious patience that this journey requires, and not only after the install, your reties every month, you're gonna have to be in someone's seat getting your hair retied. Now understand, the length of your retie time is going to vary greatly depending on your consultant. I say this because I work with 2 locticians now, okay? So my normal primary loctician has been doing sister locks for I think over a decade now, so she's very fast, skill level very high. I'm in and out within about 2.5 hours at the most with her. When I go to see my other consultant, she is a lot newer to being a Sisterlocks consultant. So when I'm there with her, I have to allot 6 hours, you know, for these 534 locks that I wanted. So keep that in mind. If you're not one that is going to sit there and get your hair retied on a monthly basis, then these may not be for you. Which brings me to my next point. You have to be able to follow rules, okay? These are highly cultivated locks. So when your consultant says your reties are needed every 4 or 5 weeks, they mean your reties must be done every 4 to 5 weeks. This is all gonna depend on how fast your hair grows out. And the density, texture, all that stuff is taken into consideration when they give you a retie schedule in the beginning. If you can't follow that, you're going to have issues with locks marrying, locks snapping and breaking off. Like I said, highly cultivated lock. This is not like freeform. This is not like traditional locks in any way. You can go months without having anything done to your hair with a lot of different other lock styles, but not particularly Sisterlocks. If you are a product junkie, okay, sis, shampoo, maybe a little bit of oil if it's allowed, okay? You are not putting products in this. I get so many questions from people about, well, what products do you use to curl your hair? Nothing. This is the natural state of my hair. You cannot put products to get a certain look. So whatever your hair is doing, however it's forming, locking, poofing out, like that is what you're going to be left with, period, until they fully lock, mature, and condense. So I don't know what my hair is gonna look like, you know, when it hits the teenage phase. I may hate it. I don't know. So it's just something you're going to have to roll with. And again, enjoy the journey. Okay, if you are addicted to new styles, color, all that stuff, like, you really may want to reconsider. You're not going to be able to color your hair until your hair reaches a certain level of locking. I colored my hair before I decided to do my install, and I haven't touched it as far as color since. I won't be able to, nor do I really intend to. I just wanted it colored beforehand so that as it grows really long, I'll have, like, you know, a few highlights on the tips. I don't plan to keep up color. If you're the type of person who loves to go from blonde to black to red to pink to green, these may not be for you, because consistently coloring, more so bleaching your locks, is going to be detrimental to your locks. Now, if you have in your mind that you don't care, it's about the length, you may be able to keep it platinum, okay? But again, that's gonna come with a waiting period. You're not able to color your hair in the start of this process. Right now, if I wanted to color my hair, it would be ill-advised because none of my ends have locked, okay? I'm locking toward, you know, the root, as you can see, but this is going to take some time to lock, and color, as we know, kind of relaxes that hair to the core. So it's going to change the texture. It's going to change the propensity for my hair to lock. If you know, love to do wigs, love to do Holly Berry cut next week, if you love to do, you know, box braids, and then you want to do singly, listen, yes, these come with versatility, but they also come with so many limitations. So if you are someone that has to have a new hairstyle every 2 weeks, Sisterlocks may not be for you, sis, okay? Or bro. This next point is going to go back to something that I mentioned before. If you cannot manage and be consistent, you really may want to rethink Sisterlocks. You have to be consistent with the wash, okay? You have to be consistent with going through, making sure that your locks not marrying. You have to be consistent with whatever your consultant is telling you to do. And most importantly, like I said, is it retie schedule. If you have a job where you're traveling month to month and you don't know what next month is going to look like, you really need to reconsider, just because if you're on a 4-week schedule, you cannot stretch it out to 8 weeks. Eventually, it's going to be detrimental to your lock health and process. Okay, if you are a control freak and you are not okay with putting the integrity of your hair into someone else's hands, you may want to rethink getting your hair sister locked. I say that because you're probably not going to be the one installing your hair. Most of us are not the ones retying our hair, though many people do take the class, they do the self reties. The vast majority of people are relying on someone else to keep their hair maintained. So that is a big thing that I personally had to grapple with. I, for so many years, maintained my own hair. I stopped going to the salons so that I could just, you know, be in charge of the health of my hair, which was very important to me. But when I got these, I had to relinquish that. So you taking the time to find a consultant that you really, really trust and that really takes care of your hair is going to be a big part of your success with Sisterlocks. Okay, another thing you may want to consider, if you cannot handle microaggressions, if you cannot handle being confident in however you look, you may want to rethink it. You have no idea what these are gonna look like. In the beginning, it's gonna be an awkward phase for so many people, to the point where people just flat out will make you feel unattractive, okay? Now, I never experienced that, but if you hear many stories of people's Sisterlock journeys, they definitely experience that. People are gonna assume that these are braids. So when they ask you, you know, how long are you keeping those? When are you taking them out? Those are questions you're gonna ask because most people don't know what these are. Though they are becoming more mainstream, they don't know. Even Black people, like I get questions all the time, like, you know, like, are those braids? Like, what are those? Like, is it fake hair? Like, they don't know what's going on. So even within our own community, you're gonna have to do a lot of explaining. So if you're not confident in what you look like, because hey, who knows what I will encounter when I reach the teenage phase. A lot of people hate that phase. All of these ends get really poofy. It may not be the most attractive thing to you or to others. So you're going to have to be comfortable with how you look, just depending on where you are in your journey. Your hair is going to consistently change. These are going to thicken up. They will later constrict. I mean, I have no idea what my hair is going to look like in the end. And that brings me to my last point. You are going into this journey with a preconceived notion of how you want your locks to look, or how you know you need your locks to look. These are not going to be for you. Nobody, and I mean nobody, knows what their locks are going to look like. Their Sisterlocks specifically are going to look like 5-10 years from now. It doesn't matter if you have identical hair texture, hair pattern, hair type. Is the woman next beside you? I'm telling you, in the end, your Sisterlocks are going to look nothing alike. You can have your hair crushes. You will definitely have your Sisterlock hair crushes. But for you to say, oh, she has a 4B, I have a 4B. Yes, I'm excited. This time my locks are gonna look. That's just not how it works. You have no idea what your hair is going to look like down the road. That is one of the reasons why I decided to get them, because I love that my locks will look like no one else's locks in the end. These will be very unique to me, and that is the most fascinating part about this. So you have to be open to your journey. Okay, so I know I gave you a lot to consider, I know, but these are things you definitely have to think about and consider before you take the plunge to get Sisterlocks. It is a huge commitment. It is a huge financial commitment. So you want to make the right decision. You don't want to get these and then, you know what, a year later, you're taking them out. It is weeks, months wasted on your reties. That is money wasted on your installation and reties. So you just definitely want to take everything into consideration before you start this journey. Okay, so that is my video for today. I hope that you enjoyed the content. Definitely join the family by subscribing, and I will catch you on the next one.